Castillon Confidential by Albert Castillon. Welcome, confidential viewers. Thank you for being there and congratulations, because thanks to you we have surpassed 350,000 subscribers and are on our way to 400,000. Thank you for your support and help to this channel. We have had access to confidential information about the invasion of Ceuta. To begin with, it wasn't supposed to be on the 30th, no, it was scheduled for the 23rd. Nothing was artificial or arbitrary. No, everything was coordinated. And not by Morocco, coordinated by Israel, according to our information, and with permission from the United States. It was supposed to happen on July 23, but it was delayed until the 30th because the Moroccans weren't ready. No one should think that this is a random invasion. The bot teams that operate on social media, the orders to gendarmes to move the Moroccans aside, and also the information to the Spanish government to let Fer go. All of that was delayed on the 23rd because they weren't ready. And it ended up being carried out on the 30th, the day of the great invasion of Spain. This information confirms something we feared, that the United States is perfectly coordinated with Israel and Morocco to manipulate, use, or overthrow the Spanish government. And the worst part is that they can't or don't want to distinguish between the Spanish people and the dictatorial government that's in our country. They don't distinguish one thing from another, and that makes them especially dangerous. With a government like ours, anything is possible. Notice how it's a coincidence. There are only 3 ministers besides Sanchez whose mobile phones were spied on with the Pegasus system by Moroccan intelligence. Well, they're the only ones who haven't left the government since Sanchez arrived at Moncloa, since 2018. Why could that be? One of them is Margarita Robles. Margarita Robles can't stand Marlaska. We're going to talk about that today. The truth about stories that most of us in the press know but never tell. Look, they're both judges and they can't stand each other. Why? Because Marlaska has become Sanchez's favorite. The friend, the buddy, they say he does business with him. And on the other hand, Margarita Robles, Sanchez called her quite a piece of work in that public audio. The bad relationship is constant, but why doesn't he replace them? Because they put Pegasus on them and Morocco is fine with it. Although in the last few hours, Margarita Robles has defended the CNI and CIFAS, which is the Armed Forces Intelligence Center, saying that they warned about the invasion. Of course they warned. And let those who allowed it take responsibility. Javierito, you don't understand what Margarita Robles means when she says this. Look.
Whoever was behind this, the mafias, or whoever allowed or tolerated it, will have to take responsibility. I've already answered you, but the intelligence services have already failed.
Answering very euphemistically because the minister doesn't clarify whether the CNI warned or not. And she says, whoever is behind it. Clearly referring to Morocco. Live image.
No, Javier, no. When she says who allowed it, she's not referring to the Moroccan government, no. She's referring to Marlaska, who knew about it, who was warned by all the state security services and forces, civil guard, police, CNI, all of them, and did nothing. Why? By order of Sanchez. And by Marlaska's own will. Look, they have everything on Marlaska. Remember that they extracted 6.7 gigabytes from his mobile phone during the Moroccan espionage. On the other hand, from Margarita Robles, they only extracted 9 megabytes. According to our information, some photos and a document. Not much more. Curious, isn't it? The more Moroccan spies extract from a minister's mobile phone, the less they do against Morocco. But here there's a minister who seems like he hasn't done anything wrong. And friends, maybe he's the most dangerous of all. the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Food, Luis Planas. To begin with, from 2004 to 2010, Luis Planas was Spain's ambassador to Morocco. And according to what we've been told, that's where he established a series of connections, agreements, and business deals with the Moroccan government and the Royal House of Morocco, which remain in place to this day. Sanchez appointed him as Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Food when he came to power, and he's still there 8 years later. Yes, they also spied on his phone with Pegasus, although they say they barely got anything out of it. We'd have to see. And what has he done since they arrived up until today? Well, serve the interests of agriculture, fishing, and food. But not for Spain, for Morocco. Look, since Luis Planas arrived at the ministry until today, imports by Spain of produce or fruit from Morocco have increased tenfold. As if there were no produce here. They should ask our friends from Murcia or Almeria how the import of Moroccan products has increased so much that many businesses have had to close. Today, thanks to Planas, Spain has become the main buyer of fruits and vegetables from Morocco, and it's still increasing. In just 1 year, from 2024 to 2025, imports increased by 34%, whatever Mohammed says. Planas works for Morocco, or so it seems. And in exchange for what, you might be wondering? In exchange for what? Why those favors, if they barely got any information from his phone for alleged blackmail? Well, in exchange for Morocco helping him become the Director General of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. Yes, Luis Planas. He wants to be the Director General of the FAO. Just like Yolanda Diaz with the ILO, the one for labor, all of them are UN organizations well funded with your money, your taxes, to get them those positions. You pay, they collect. Just 3 months ago, Sanchez went to the FAO to give a speech about ending world hunger. That nonsense cost us $8 million in donations to the FAO. And we'll keep giving them money like there's no tomorrow because Morocco wants Luis Planas to be there. What for? To favor Morocco's interests. Don't think that Spain is going to gain anything by having Luis Planas in that high position. Besides, Sanchez just granted 4 million more and had already given 14 million to the International Organization for Migration, which also depends on the United Nations. And do you know who its director is? Luis Planas' wife, Maria Jesus Herrera. We told you yesterday when the two of them went together to the Moroccan embassy while our territory was being invaded. Gentleman Planas' wife, the minister's wife in that United Nations Migration Office, earns 240,000 euros. And if Sanchez and Mohammed VI get Planas a position at the FAO, he'll make 250,000 between the two of them. That's 50,000 a month, which will be paid with public money from any of you. And I asked the question directly to Minister Luis Planas. Does serving the interests of Morocco and no longer serving those of Spain cost that much? 50,000 a month? 50. Gentlemen, we've been telling you this for years. The enemy is not outside. The enemy is here at home, and some of them are part of this country's government. Welcome. We investigate.
Yes.
Castillón Confidential by Albert Castillón.
Friends, it's surprising to see how manipulation or misinformation leads the United States Congress to refer to Ceuta and Melilla as Moroccan territory occupied by Spanish colonies. The United States Congress says that. And also Israel, its ambassador to the UN, has asked Spain for explanations for having, I quote, two colonial enclaves in North Africa. I don't think it's ignorance, it's bad faith. It's trying to take advantage of the moment they created. By the United States and Israel, I have no doubt, to go after that first-rate geostrategic enclave. But since they don't know history, we're going to explain it to them here. Paco Alvarez, how are you, my friend? How are you doing?
How's it going? Well, here I am, sending all our love to the most Spanish people I know, namely the people of Ceuta and Melilla. In fact, I'm always here.
Ceuta has been Spanish long before Morocco existed as a country, right? Yes.
Way before, way before. In fact, before I start telling the story, if you want, I'd like to point out that neither Ceuta nor Melilla are on the list of places to be decolonized, on the UN list, okay? Not even on the list of places with the right to self-determination, like what happens, for example, with Gibraltar or the Falkland Islands. Ceuta and Melilla logically are not on any list of colonies or anything like that. The reason is very simple. So, to begin with, Ceuta and Melilla were originally 2,800 years ago Phoenician cities, okay? Melilla was called Rusadir, and the first name we know for Ceuta is Septem, from Septem Fratres because of the 7 symmetrical hills behind it. From that Septem in Latin, it later became Septa in Arabic, and now Ceuta currently. But anyway, Ceuta was Roman since the year 42 AD, when it was conquered by Emperor Claudius. And since then, or a little later, in the year 69, Emperor Otho called that area of Africa Hispania Transfretana, which means Hispania on the other side of the strait. That's how it was considered in the year 69, okay? Well, not exactly in the year 69, obviously. After that, sometime later, the Diocese of Hispania was created, which included Mauretania Tingitana, as it was called. From that Mora, or from those Moros, comes the word Moors, which is not an insult. That Mauretania Tingitana was also governed from Hispania, okay? Then the Roman Empire ended, the Roman Empire fell, and Ceuta was recovered for the Byzantine Empire, that is for the Eastern Roman Empire, around the year 500 and something, I don't remember exactly. And it was Roman from Byzantium and controlled from the Byzantine province of Hispania, which is what it was called, until Ceuta was conquered by Witiza, I think around 675 more or less, by Witiza, the Visigothic king of Toledo. What I'm saying is we were fighting over Ceuta, some Spaniards from the Levant with some Spaniards from the center, okay? Then in 709, that's when Count Julian supposedly turned traitor and so on and so forth. But after that, it would be governed by the Emirate of Cordoba, then by the Taifa of Malaga, and then by the Taifa of Murcia. Except for brief periods of time, it was never governed by tribes or empires from North Africa. It was always governed by Spaniards, just so we're clear. In 1415, Ceuta was conquered by Portugal, and since 1580, it has been Spanish. 1580? When was Morocco born? 1956, that's 380 years after Ceuta became Spanish. In other words, it's the same span of time between us and the surrender of Breda, just to give you an idea.
But they have no shame lying, for example, to the Moroccans who actually believe it, right? There are a lot of people who believe it was Moroccan at some point.
Yes, and no, it was never Moroccan. There was a Sultanate of Morocco in the mid-17th century, but that Sultanate of Morocco didn't rule over Ceuta or Melilla. So what I mean is, what are you even talking about? What's more, the people who entered Ceuta the other day didn't go into Ceuta because they wanted Ceuta to be Moroccan. They went into Ceuta because they wanted to enter Europe. So what I mean is, all that story they're telling us like, oh, they're colonies, people entered as a protest. No. It's all a lie, honestly, from beginning to end, I'm telling you.
Just like the Spanish identity of Ceuta is beyond doubt, and so is Melilla's. It's a similar story.
Absolutely the same. In Melilla is the same story. Phoenician, Carthaginian, then Roman, then Byzantine, then Visigothic or Gothic or whatever we want to call it, and later also governed from the Emirate of Cordoba. I mean, even when they were Muslim or during the periods when they were Muslim, they were governed from Spain. So they never stopped being that except, I mean, for a few moments in their history. And they were never governed by Morocco or anything similar to Morocco, and they never will be. I mean, because I want to say, unless we decided to abandon them, and that would be the day we do that, the very next minute, we'll have them in Algeciras and in the Canary Islands. I mean, we'd better defend our foothold in Ceuta and the one in Melilla if we don't want to see them right around the corner.
No doubt. Hey, did you know that Moroccan colonialism is targeting the Canary Islands? Is there any historical connection between the Canary Islands and Morocco?
Never, ever, zero. I mean, the only thing is that, well, yes, they're close. But I mean, it's like the people who say this are the same ones who are in favor of Denmark leaving Greenland, for example, because it doesn't make any sense. You know? I mean, that's not how things work. The Canary Islands are there, close by actually. They're not even close to Morocco. They're close to what we've claimed, to Spanish Sahara. Okay, I mean, but they have absolutely no shared history, not even in the most ancient times. No, I mean, absolutely not. The Guanches have nothing to do with the Berbers, and obviously the Berbers and the Moors are tribes from 3,000 years ago that have nothing to do with Morocco. I mean, it's absolutely nothing.
Well, I know that you are a strong defender of the monarchy. It's kind of embarrassing that King Felipe has never gone to Ceuta or Melilla, not as a prince, nor now as king. We're missing a chance for him to do it for the first time, a golden opportunity.
You know, I'd like to double check that fact because it really surprises me. I mean, that he's never gone. And if he's never gone, I think that's terrible. I mean,
Juan Carlos was there, and they also told me that Rodriguez Zapatero gave him permission. It was the last time, which is curious, but yes, but it was Zapatero, to be fair. But King Felipe has never gone.
Look, that's really frustrating. Obviously, he should go, but he should go now. And he should, well, do a series of things that all of us, both monarchists and those less in favor of the monarchy, are missing this time. We have very few institutions left in Spain that still function democratically. Some judges, not all of them, as we are seeing, and the monarchy. So, I mean, we are waiting. Obviously, the monarchy doesn't move at the pace of the news cycle, no, but well, I'm sure that something will happen sooner rather than later, and that's what I hope.
Hopefully, even if Sanchez doesn't give you permission, Your Majesty, go, make a move for once. Even if they scold you, even if the pro-Sanchez media shout at you that it was a threat to national security, go ahead. Let's see if you know. It's crazy, Diana, because it's going to provoke...
Yeah.
It's going to provoke.
Thanks to you, thanks to all our informants who are the nicest people on earth.
Without a doubt, we have to know history so we don't make mistakes like Israel and the United States have out of self-interest. A big hug. See you Friday. See you Friday, friends. Goodbye. Castillon Confidencial by Albert Castillon.
593, 9,159,304.91. Completely trustworthy.
There are a lot of messages from the show's followers who are more than upset about what happened, especially because they want to move on as if nothing happened here, right? Of course, while they were invading Spain, Sanchez and Begoña Gomez, look at them taking a swim in La Mareta. They got caught. What's up, Diario? It's really funny to see how people make memes about this on social media. There's one that's my favorite. It says, "Come on, Begoña, let's go take a bath. There are no Moroccans on the coast." Not there. In other places, lots of Moroccans, right? It's an image that really reflects, almost symbolizes, I'd say, the Spain we're enduring. They're swimming without a care in Ceuta, scared to death, the press asking questions, the ministers lying. That's how Spain is. There are opinions everywhere, more than enough to go around. The first ones we hear, let's listen to Dani Maria and Pedro.
about your video on immigration, the one about Ceuta, well, the invasion. And this especially scares me because basically there are people I know who haven't opened their eyes about this, and they still think that there are bad intentions and all that stuff. And I'm afraid that some of them at least will only realize what's going on when the shit is right on top of them.
They're arresting people from Ceuta who are defending themselves. The police are arresting the citizens of Ceuta for defending themselves. This is murder against the Spanish people. Enough already, Spaniards, please. Go out because they're going to come into your homes.
After what's happening in Ceuta and the decision of the Minister of the Interior, the President's escape, and the King's eclipse, we can say that we've definitely been invaded. And it's not like they didn't warn us. I hope these traitors' asses are in danger, just like the safety of our families will be. Now this is high treason against Spain.
Thank you, Pedro. Dani Esteve mobilized a lot of people with Victor de Aldama. This scene proves it.
This afternoon, well, I've had a busy afternoon because there were people saying to me, hey, Frente Obrero.
There are a lot of people who are thinking about traveling to Ceuta to protest or take some kind of protest action. And there are a lot of shouts and looks at every rally, not just at Sanchez, at the king, directed at the king. Yesterday we talked about it here and it has caused reactions. Sofia, Lydia, Jose Antonio, Meiva, and Catalina.
Well, I would like someone to explain Article number 62 of the Spanish Constitution to me.
About the functions of the king. At first, both the king, the government, and the armed forces have been making that clear to us since, I imagine, even before the flood. They weren't there during the flood, nor were they there during the fires, nor have they been anywhere. They're telling us loud and clear that we can't count on them. We're going to have to look for help among ourselves.
It's very clear. What recordings? What do they have on the head of state for him to allow all this? I can't imagine. Felipe is compromised. He's just a person. He doesn't deserve us, decent Spaniards. No. So the sooner he leaves, the better off we'll be.
High treason is considered when security is harmed, putting the lives of citizens and the peace of the territory at risk, or when there is disloyalty against one's own nation or its head of state, inducing another country to declare war, or giving the country's secrets to other governments to cause harm. We have a traitor and a group of sycophants who say the opposition is afraid of him. I think the opposition is also afraid of him, when for these reasons they could slam their fist on the table and bring him to trial, because he is breaking this law among many others. So I don't know who is more afraid, his entourage or those who accuse his entourage.
The king is the head of the armed forces. He has to speak to the Spanish people. Where is he now? On vacation. Why does Pedro Sanchez go to Ceuta? To say that they are going to put up protective fences to prevent the entry of illegal immigrants? Does he want to make fun of all Spaniards?
Look, the truth is that the king has spent 3 days in Marivent during the invasion without saying a word. Well, they released a little press note very cautiously with the Prime Minister's office vetting every word, right? And yesterday he came out, yes, you can see the photos, he made an appearance, but not to catch a plane and go to Ceuta. He has never set foot in Ceuta or Melilla in his life, not even as a prince, no. He went over there to test a boat for the King's Cup regattas. To test a yacht, a sailing boat, and see how it sails. One on the beach, swimming, the other sailing. And to defend Spain, that's your job since you also pay taxes and put up with corrupt politicians. It's very frustrating. And what's even more frustrating is that the civil guard and the national police are, well, they're tracking the faces of everyone who arrived, as expected. Among them, there are rapists, common criminals, murderers, scammers, and jihadists. Mohammed VI did his usual outrageous thing by releasing, on the very Thursday the invasion happened, 1,700 prisoners from his jails. But just 10 days earlier, he had released 1,200 more. Where do you think they are? Do you think they've gone back? No. Maybe the kids with iPhones in their hands who turned the invasion of Spain into a social media trip have gone back. But the real criminals, the most dangerous ones, are still in Ceuta. They're trying to locate them, and it's very difficult because Morocco isn't cooperating at all. Morocco wants them to stay here and will keep sending criminals until after the 2013 World Cup. Let's see if that way there are no robberies in Casablanca, where they'll end up hosting the final. Don't have any doubt about it. All right, last messages, Juan and Annabelle.
I can only tell you one thing. When the cold drop happened in Valencia and I saw that the army did absolutely nothing for its people, it became very clear to me that Ceuta and Melilla would be next and they wouldn't do anything either. Everything is completely bought and sold. Everything.
Well,
like any decent Spaniard, I'm absolutely worried and thinking about what we could do to help the people of Ceuta and Melilla, which, after all, is helping ourselves. One possibility would be to increase tariffs on Morocco or to close the borders to cars, trucks, and the entry of goods. Since this government is definitely not going to do it, what we could do is maybe go out into the streets and ask for this. Precisely because we can't do anything against the government, we should target PP headquarters directly and force them to respond in some effective way.
Keep sending your opinions. We'll keep listening to them here all through August. In the newsroom, latest updates, Susana Gas, tell us.
Thank you. We're still here, Albert. In the Castillon Confidential newsroom, we're always receiving lots of messages and opinions. Greetings to the Confidenciales, of course. Jose Luis writes to us and says that what needs to be done is to actually leak the blackmail material that Morocco has in order to disarm it. On the other hand, Lole also says that exactly, Albert, those who stay in Ceuta, he means, it's because they have committed crimes and absolutely no one defends the Spaniards. On the other hand, Malenanak says that the king doesn't let Sanchez either go to Ceuta or appear in the media to speak out about what's happening in Ceuta. He already stopped him from going since he just wants to be the center of attention in everything. But it's also true that Felipe doesn't put in much effort either and feels very comfortable living in the palace with his privileges. He doesn't do much to get involved either. On the other hand, Elsa says that we are the laughingstock of all of Europe and that will continue until Pedro Sanchez leaves. Miguel says, so what's the point of NATO? Can you explain it to me? What's the point of NATO? Although Ceuta and Melilla are not under NATO's umbrella, they are Spanish and European citizens, and therefore if they are attacked, they are really attacking all of us. I don't know if you knew that. Antonio says that the king should have already asked Pedro Sanchez to resign in order not to approve the state budget and, of course, to call for new general elections in Spain as soon as possible. In that time, what's he doing? He's supposed to be quick, but he's not doing anything. And Antonia, and she's the last one we'll look at, says, congratulations for everything you're doing, especially for that constant fight for Spain and above all, also for Venezuela. She says that since he is also Venezuelan. And remember that the fires, which here it seems we all forget very quickly, still exist and we have been abandoned. She has also experienced Dana, the volcano, and the pandemic. 10 intense minutes that feel like our lives are ending. And after that, as you can see, there's no memory left here, nothing at all, and even less from the government. And we'll leave it here, Albert, it's important that you keep following us throughout the summer on all our social media and especially on our channels where your interviews are, as well as all the information, because it's important to always stay well informed. Albert, thank you.
Thank you, Susana. Big hug. We're not going to forget here about the fires, about the negligence we've reported, about that strange relationship between solar plants and fires. No. Just like we haven't forgotten about the Dana, we're going to keep pressing the issue. A friend, a confidant, was saying how badly the people of Ceuta are suffering. Man, just imagine you are from Ceuta. You know what? Your government doesn't care about you, and they're going to let Morocco invade whenever they want. But the thing is, Ceuta has never belonged to Morocco. They're organizing citizen patrols in some neighborhoods of Ceuta. Take a look.
Well, we've had to organize the neighbors to protect our homes because the city, no matter how much they want to say otherwise, is still overwhelmed by the situation. And since Thursday, we've had a group organized, taking turns to protect our homes and our families. We live very close to the Satire. It's the nearest facility there is. They're right behind that ravine, and of course it gets confusing. They come without direction, and everyone wanted to come up here.
Up there, several neighbors have had people try to break into their houses. One neighbor even had someone sneak into his garden. He started eating the things they have in the garden. They also tried to break into the neighbor's house via the abandoned house behind it. The security services are overwhelmed, but it's normal. Just look at the situation we're in.
When they come by, they just pass right by. They don't even come here to be with us. They've been down here for days, but they're out of control.
Thank you. Security services out of control, soldiers ordered not to intervene. Friends in Ceuta, you are on your own. It's good that you're organizing yourselves into groups, always peaceful, but in groups. Right, you understand me. To defend your home, your business, your country, since those who should be defending it are not doing so? There is a judge whom I trust a lot and who is a friend of mine, Judge Maria Tardon. We talk on WhatsApp from time to time. I've known her for 20 years. She is a judge at the National Court and has opened proceedings to investigate crimes related to the invasion of Ceuta. Crimes against state security, which would include those who organized or encouraged it, but also Marlaska. Marlaska received the order from the CNI, and did he make sure the civil guard and police presence was doubled? No. Or Margarita Robles. Did he send soldiers there with armored vehicles? No. And they knew it was going to happen. The trickle had been going on all week. Crime against state security and crime against the nation. I sent a message to Maria Tardon, the judge from the National Court, who always tells me she has a lot of work, little time, and that we should trust her. She assures me, trust me, and sends me a heart, saying that we are going to defend this. I hope that's the case. I trust Judge Tardon, who is handling this case. And something else. There is a group of patriots in Burgos that we went to visit when the podcast was starting. We had been doing it for a couple of years. Well, a few days ago, they reached 1,000 days of protest in front of the PSOE headquarters in Burgos. You are seeing photos of the celebration. Miguel Angel Alvarez and company, congratulations. 1,000 days protesting in front of the PSOE headquarters since the amnesty began. How many times has Sanchez gone to the beach in 1,000 days? Or how many times has the king been out sailing in those 1,000 days, right? Castillon Confidential by Albert Castillon. Gentlemen, we're getting some very curious messages. Sophia from Italy says, instead of buoys, why don't they put hams to separate Spain from Morocco? Maybe they'd be more effective since people still get past the buoys, which is ridiculous. And Isabel says, in the end, Sanchez promised us the moon and brought us the Moor. Of course, he promised us everything, but nothing came of it. Freud Lannister, Sanchez on his knees in front of Mohammed VI, is one of the best things I've seen. This is from Jose Manuel.
Beloved Mohammed, thank you so much for sending us an invasion that we really needed to realize our mistakes, and at your feet, how lucky I am to be your slave. Don't worry about those Italian Nazis. I'll take care of them so that your most Moorish excellency can launch more attacks on my country's sovereignty. I bow before you.
Pedro, I'm going to WhatsApp Begonio pretending to be you, saying he looks like Schwarzenegger.
No, please, it won't happen again, I promise.
I'm sorry, it's too late, infidel. I already sent it.
No, Master Mohammed, it won't happen again.
Incredible. Well, imagine Batman and Robin. Who's Batman Sanchez? Who's Robin? Watch.
Always Robin Tadello, there's a new crisis. I declare a sauna emergency.
Another crisis. Strange, right? Sauna Man?
I sense some irony and impertinence, Robin Tadello.
No, of course not, Sauna Man. I wouldn't think of it. What's the emergency?
Well, I'll let it slide. This is a migration emergency, Robin Tadello. No.
It's not because of Mohammed VI parties in Paris, Sauna Man. What should we do? Send the civil guard?
Stop saying fascist nonsense, idiot. We should summon the Italian ambassador for consultations, since he suggested closing free movement with this country.
And the ambassador of Morocco?
Well, it's obvious, you fool. We need to send 2 ministers to the Moroccan ambassador's party celebrating Mohammed II's reign.
Are we going to a party during an invasion, Sonaman, by the Adam Sona cameras?
Of course, I'll keep quiet. Don't you understand the brilliance of my plan?
Well, now that you mention it, the truth is that, let's see.
Where did the progressive migrants enter Ceuta, Robin Tadelo?
Well, by sea masks, sir.
What do they serve at embassy parties?
Champagne, young Sybarite.
And where else is champagne served?
With that false thesis of yours, Sonaman. Now I get your point. Champagne is also on the Falcon, which flies, unlike migrant victims. Who lacks a Falcon? Exactly, the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court is the only one to blame for the invasion caused by our immigration policy. Morocco is a loyal partner and also a victim of the Supreme Court.
Brutal. Well, it's not that far from reality. Ursula von der Leyen has congratulated Morocco and Spain. I'm serious, it's not a joke. She has congratulated them on how well they handled the negotiation. I mean, how well Morocco invades and how well Spain lets itself be invaded. It's really sad, but now we know who's who. Here, everyone has taken off their masks. By the way, this game was talking about Freud Lannister, these puppets from Mohammed VI's trips to Paris. Mohammed VI has gone viral again, drunk in Paris. Look, there he is. A cameraman caught him. Play it again so we can see it. There is Mohammed VI staggering through the streets of Paris. The alcohol ban for Muslims doesn't apply to him. Not at all. Well, not in that nor in other hobbies either, right? Well, earlier Jose Manuel told me, kings used to be like this, now they're like this. He sent me this photo where you can see King Felipe under the table. And Nori is even more cruel. Look at this. Video, a historical painting, Prado Museum, an empty chair, and they say, tell me who's missing here.
Honey, whose portrait is this? This is the portrait of Felipe VI, the absent one. The absent one? Yes, because when there are major crises, you never see him. Ha ha ha.
I say they should hang that portrait in the Prado Museum right away. And the last one, also from Nuria, Princess Leonor wants to change things, but... Dad?
They've invaded Ceuta. I think you should address the nation.
They still haven't sent me what I need to say.
I'll go myself.
It's just that they haven't sent me what I have to say yet. Well, dear confidants, thank you, Jose Ignacio de Bourgon, for your donation. Thank you very much. Thank you, Daniel C.S. Gemma A.L. Thank you, Christina Dolores R.L. Thank you also, Ricardo T., for your donation. Francisco Mar, thank you very much, Senin. HOMS and Carmen Martinez and German Martinez, you are wonderful. What would we do without you, confidants? More tomorrow, here on La Trinchera. I'll be waiting for you.
Desde la trinchera, las balas silban y no hay manera de salir allá afuera. Aquí la libertad tiene las alas de cera. Albert Castillo, Susana Gash, Tucci Castillo y demás. Muchas gracias. Con esto y un bizcocho, hasta mañana a las 8.
Castillón Confidential by Albert Castillón.